Welcome, curious listener, to a brand new deep dive. Today, we're digging into a whole stack of sources you sent over. They're about, well, a really interesting founder and the company he built, one that kind of quietly changed how we all deal with our digital stuff. Our plan, pull out the biggest insights, tell the story. And it all kicks off with a feeling I think we all know too well.
Oh, yeah, it's super relatable, isn't it? That moment you're like rushing somewhere important, maybe a big meeting, maybe class. You reach for your USB drive, the one with everything on it, and
Yeah.
nope, not there.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's stuck on your home computer. That whole feeling like your work is trapped on one device. Almost everyone's felt that frustration.
Exactly. And for Drew Houston, back in 2006, I think it was, that exact feeling on a bus ride, that sparked something huge. He literally just forgot his USB stick. It's pretty wild how that tiny personal annoyance could grow into Dropbox. I mean, a company now worth over $10 billion, used by hundreds of millions of people, all from forgetting a USB drive.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How often the really game-changing ideas don't come from, some super complex master plan. They often just pop up from solving a simple personal headache that turns out loads of other people have too. So yeah, this deep dive, it's not just a business lesson. It's really a story about seeing a common problem and just focusing relentlessly on fixing it.
Right. So that's our mission today. We want to figure out how Drew Houston went from that aha moment on the bus,
Right.
stilling building Dropbox into this giant it is now. We're going to look at the big decisions, the unexpected bumps, the clever strategies that really made Dropbox. Okay, let's unpack this. Okay, so our sources mentioned Drew Houston, born back in '83 in Massachusetts, showed promise early, apparently coding by age 5, went to MIT, studied computer science, got some good experience too, internships at various startups. But then we get to that bus ride, 2006. The forgotten USB stick moment. What was the sort of core question that popped into his head then?
Yeah, it was one of those moments, right? Born straight out of that frustration.
Yeah.
And the sources quote him, basically asking, why isn't there a folder that just syncs everywhere and always works? Simple as that. That question, it sounds simple, but it became the absolute foundation for Dropbox. It wasn't about fancy features at first. It was about making something dead reliable, dead simple for this digital pain point everyone had.
And what's really interesting, he didn't just rush off and try to build the whole perfect thing immediately. He started tinkering in 2007, built a prototype. But he knew he had to see if people actually wanted it before going all in. So he made this really clever demo video, aimed it right at the Reddit crowd, techie, smart people, explained it super clearly, bit of humor, made it seem effortless.
Oh, that video was genius. One source, the tech blogger, I think, called it like one of the smartest pre-launch moves ever. And it just blew up overnight. Thousands of signups, boom, just like that. It really shows you something crucial, doesn't it? They proved people wanted it before sinking tons of cash into building it out big, took away a huge chunk of risk, proved the market was there.
Total masterclass in finding that product market fit. See if they bite, then build the feast. So after that video success, he applied to Y Combinator, the big startup accelerator. But here's a little twist, apparently. YC told him, great idea, but you need a co-founder.
Right, and he moved fast on that. Found Arash Ferdowsi, another MIT student. They got into the Y Combinator batch for 2007. And YC, it's not just about the money. It's like a pressure cooker. Intense mentoring, pushing you to test things, change things fast. Paul Graham at YC apparently said Drew wasn't just building a product, he was solving a universal pain point. That hits the nail on the head. That early guidance, plus having Arash on board, super critical for scaling up. Dropbox launched officially in 2008, and the growth was just, wow. 1 million users in 7 months.
1 million users. 7 months. That's just incredible speed. And the sources keep pointing back to one core thing. Beyond just the initial idea, it was this obsession with making file syncing just work. They focused so hard on the user experience, making it smooth, easy, maybe even a little bit delightful to use. Getting started had to be super simple. It sounds easy, just make it work. But getting software to feel that effortless, that's notoriously tough.
It really is. There's a quote from a UX designer in the materials, puts it perfectly. Something like, Dropbox didn't win because it had the most features. It won because it was invisible and reliable. Think about it. So much software back then, even now sometimes is clunky or complicated. Dropbox just prioritized making it feel natural, easy. They poured engineering into making the hard stuff completely disappear for the user. Invisible reliability.
Yeah. Invisible reliability. I like that. And that obsession with making it easy, it connected directly to how they grew so fast. They didn't throw millions at ads, not at first anyway. They grew mostly through people telling other people. Referrals. I definitely remember that. It felt like everyone was sending invites.
Exactly, the viral loop. You invited a friend, you both got extra free storage space. It was such a smart incentive. It turned their users into basically their sales team. Drew Houston even said it. Our users became our marketers. Just brilliant strategy. Let them scale up to tens of millions of users without breaking the bank on advertising.
Textbook organic growth, really. But okay, fast forward a bit to around 2010. Things changed. Suddenly, Dropbox wasn't the only player. You had the giants jumping in: Google Drive, Apple iCloud, Microsoft OneDrive, huge companies with deep pockets. A lot of people thought, okay, Dropbox is toast now. How do they possibly survive that? How did they thrive against that kind of competition?
Yeah, that was a critical moment. And this is where their focus really paid off. Instead of freaking out and trying to copy every feature the big guys added, they doubled down on what made them Dropbox. The syncing across everything, rock-solid reliability, and keeping it simple. One tech analyst in our sources said something like, Drew had guts. Turning down Apple was a defining moment. Apparently, Steve Jobs himself wanted to basically buy or absorb Dropbox into Apple's world, make it an Apple feature. Andrew said no. That showed he believed Dropbox could stand alone, be the neutral platform, the one that worked everywhere, Mac, PC, whatever. It wasn't just brave, it was strategic, betting on being universal. And, well, it worked.
Turning down Steve Jobs himself, saying, no, we have our own vision. That takes serious conviction. And clearly, it paid off. Big time. In 2018, Dropbox went public. NASDAQ valuation was what, $9.2 billion? Just huge. And they haven't stood still. They've added collaboration tools, workplace features, even AI stuff for organizing files. They really grew from just syncing folders into a whole productivity platform.
Absolutely. And Drew Houston stayed CEO through all of that.
Yeah.
Which tells you something about his vision and his ability to adapt. Adapt the company, but keep that core idea alive.
So looking back, it's quite a ride we've traced from that forgotten USB stick on the bus. And Drew's really simple question: why isn't there a folder that just syncs everywhere and always works? Such a basic need. Then the viral demo video proving people desperately wanted it, the Y Combinator boost with Arash Ferdowsi joining, that relentless focus on making it just work, that invisible user experience, and of course, that super smart referral growth engine.
Yeah. And if you boil down Drew Houston's philosophy, one quote from the sources really jumps out.
Yeah.
You only have to be right once. I think the takeaways for you listening are pretty clear from this story. Obsess over solving actual problems people have. Start simple. Definitely test if people want your idea early on, like they did with Reddit. Try to ignore all the noise, what competitors are doing. Just focus on delivering real value. And he really lived by his other quote, the biggest risk isn't failing, it's being mediocre. That's powerful stuff. Don't just aim for okay.
So what's the bottom line here? What does it all mean for you? Well, Dropbox didn't just, invent another way to store files online. They fundamentally made work easier for everyone.
Yeah.
It's a really strong reminder, isn't it? How focusing on simplicity and making something utterly reliable, how powerful that can be. In tech, sure, but maybe in life too. They built something that just faded into the background and helped us out. An invisible helper.
That's a great way to put it, an invisible helper. They tackled this annoying, overlooked problem with quiet, steady innovation. Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other invisible solutions are just waiting out there? Solutions to small, everyday headaches, waiting for someone to notice, and then just dedicate themselves to making something that, well, that just works perfectly, makes you think.